Eu vou aqui falar de uma pessoa que lidera a transformação digital no Endeavour Drinks Group, que é parte do Woolworths Group na Austrália. A Endeavour é um dos maiores grupos de bebidas do mundo, que inclui as cadeias de varejo australianas número 1 e número 2, que é a BWS e a Dan Murphy's, que coletivamente tem quase metade do mercado de bebidas alcoólicas na Austrália. Ele lidera equipes multifuncionais para transformar processos e estrutura de equipe e influenciar mudanças culturais para manter o grupo em evolução e enfrentar a nova normalidade das expectativas, sempre em mudança dos clientes, causada pela aceleração dos avanços tecnológicos. O Ben, atualmente radicado em Sydney, na Austrália, ele vem do Reino Unido, estudou na França e em Cuba e trabalhou na Espanha, no Japão, Tailândia e Singapura. E fala nada mais, nada menos do que 8 idiomas. Para falar sobre Omnichannel Service Strategies, convido diretamente de Sydney, na Austrália, Benjamin Thompson, que é o Head de Digital. Agora eu vou mudar para inglês. Então, now I will switch to English to talk about Omnichannel Service Strategies. I invite directly from Sydney, the Head of Digital Transformation from Endeavour Group. Ben, welcome, and how are you?
I am very good. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Na verdade, eu adoraria falar palestrar em português, mas eu acho que meu português não é bem o suficiente para palestrar para toda a minha apresentação. Então, eu vou falar em inglês, desculpe.
Você vai muito bem. Eu queria aproveitar para parabenizá-lo pelo seu aniversário, que acredito que foi ontem. Então, nossos parabéns aqui da E-commerce Brasil.
Obrigado.
So, let's switch to English, and the stage is all yours. Okay, go ahead.
Thanks very much. Thank you. I'm really happy to be talking to you guys. Obviously, I would prefer to be there in Sao Paulo with you all, but Coronga had some different ideas about that. So I think I heard the introduction for the company already. The two main brands that I will talk about today are BWS and Dan Murphy's. Although Jimmy Brings, which is one of our smaller companies, they did do quite a lot of actions during the COVID period. Jimmy Brings is they're an on-demand retailer. We have small refrigerated vans traveling around metro areas that deliver alcohol in 30 minutes. They did do a lot of actions during the lockdown period too. But my main focus today will be for Dan Murphy's and BWS. As mentioned, we're the largest alcohol retailer in Australia. In Australia, you can't sell alcohol in the supermarket, and that's why we have such big retail brands who focus on selling purely alcohol. In Australia, our supermarkets business probably got hit with the effects of COVID first, and what happened was some of the customer behaviors that happen in the supermarkets, they would happen in the liquor retailers 1 or 2 weeks afterwards. So we were lucky in the sense that we could predict how the customers would be feeling, what the customers would be expecting as the crisis and as the lockdown and everything progressed. I'm sure you have some equivalents to these cartoons, these memes in Portuguese. My job is digital transformation, and we did make quite a few comments during the COVID situation that COVID actually caused a lot of our roadmap and our strategies to be brought forward. We had roadmap plans around what will be the percentage of e-com in penetration, which jumped up very, very quickly. Some of the penetration that we thought we would get in 2 years or 3 years, it was happening in 1 week or 2 weeks. The volumes that we saw were similar to a Christmas. In Christmas, we do 3 times, 4 times our volume, but we prepare for 6 months. During COVID, especially in the early days, we were getting all of the volumes of Christmas, but with none of the preparation for the staff, for the staff to answer the calls, for the delivery systems to be able to cope with the demand. Many of the items that we perhaps had in our roadmap, we weren't sure when we were going to prioritize them, and so what COVID actually helped us do, we had some very clear customer needs, and it helped us do the business case to bring forward some of the investment to take some of the actions or some of the services that I'll talk about and bring them forward to implement them very, very, very fast. I joined in on the first day and the second day, and I listened to some of the speakers, and the themes that were talked about around safety, accessibility, and relevance were exactly some of the themes that that we actually had talked about, and it's how I wanted to group how we managed customer service and omni-channel strategies during this time. The first need, the first requirement from our customers was around safety and well-being, both from the team and from a customer perspective. We looked at some of the trends that were happening both in the supermarkets business, but also some of the customer trends that we saw happening in other countries, and we used them to inform some of the actions that we would take. We looked at South Korea for some of the behaviors that would happen post-lockdown, because they were further ahead than a lot of countries in terms of going into the crisis and coming out of it. We looked at Italy for what they did around the perspex glasses to protect their frontline employees. And we also looked at Spain, as they went deep into a very strict lockdown, some of the expectations around cleanliness and sanitation. As the customers moved from worrying about safety and well-being, we then started thinking about accessibility and making sure that we could cope with the demand that we were getting from customers as they wanted to get deliveries instead of coming in store. We also wanted to encourage our customers to get deliveries and stay home and stay safe. And as we moved further into lockdown, then we focused on relevance, on entertainment, on customer connection. A lot of Australians are quite social. They're quieter, and they're a bit more closed than some other countries, but they are quite social. And I think the lockdown was quite difficult for a lot of people. So we worked on how could we interact? How could we recreate some of the service that we have in store, recreate it online, so that the customers still feel engaged and they still are getting some value add during these difficult times. So going further into safety and well-being, first priority was the well-being of the team, and of course of the customers. You heard, I think, someone from Ambev yesterday talking about making sanitizer. Well, gin, the method to make gin was apparently not that different from the method to make sanitizer. So we partnered quite quickly. We've got a lot of gin partners in Australia here, and we worked with them to create sanitizer for the team members initially. Australia ran out of sanitizer very quick. I don't know if you had the same problem with toilet paper in Brazil, but you know, the supermarkets ran out of toilet paper. We had to call the airlines to buy their toilet paper. Sanitizer was similar. Everybody bought a lot of sanitizer and it wasn't available. So by working with our suppliers, creating the sanitizer, giving it to our team members so that they could make sure that when they were handling the goods, when they were delivering, and also for themselves, that they would be safe. Inside the store experience, we brought forward some investment around a team app. We'd learned in the US from looking at some of the retailers that they were putting technology into the employees' hands to help them serve customers better. So we brought forward some of that investment, and we fast-tracked some features in the team app so that they could serve customers better in store, keep their distance. They could take payment without needing to touch the customer, without needing to take the card from the customer. And they could also help the customer leave the store quicker and not wait in line where they could be at risk of waiting and getting too near to other people. So making it easier to physically distance. And currently, we're developing a track and trace application so that when customers come in, if they can scan or tap their phone quickly, we know that they've been in the store. And then if we get a COVID case in store, we're able to contact them back and inform them so that they can go home and they can quarantine. I'll show you a short video from the in-store payments. It goes through like how to give recommendations better, how to look at their purchase history, and how to take payment as well. You can play the video now. Okay. So once the customer focus, the behavior, the expectations had moved away from focusing on safety and the stress, we noticed that there was a high demand for people ordering online and people wanting to have contactless delivery. We had always planned that in the future that we would be delivering the alcohol straight to the boot, or that we were delivering at the side of the road. We just hadn't really decided when we would be doing it. We'd already planned to expand our fast delivery so people can get it within 30 minutes to 1 hour, but we didn't necessarily know when we would be doing it. And what COVID created was this customer need that gave us the certainty or gave us the confidence to introduce some of these services straight away. So first of all, the regulations around alcohol are quite strict. Normally you have to take a signature with the delivery, especially if it's a first time, and you have to check ID. To do contactless delivery, we got permission from the governing committees, and then we changed a lot of our back-end security quite fast so that we didn't require a signature, so that we were able to leave the alcohol at the door of the customers without making any contact. We also developed pickup to the car service so that customers didn't need to come into the store and have too much physical contact. I think you heard yesterday from JD.com that trust during these times of uncertainty, trust became a big issue. And in the first couple of weeks when we had a huge rise in demand, people were wondering, will I get my order? Is it definitely going to come? So expanding a partnership with Uber Eats, expanding the on-demand fast delivery really helped to stop those calls, stop that stress from the customers so they could get their alcohol straight away. We also often the advice and the information around our stores opening, the rules, this was constantly changing. We didn't really have capacity to keep changing our FAQ and our information pages at the speed that we wanted. So we outsourced some of that capability overseas, and we had this kind of dynamically changing FAQs. And then we also thought, well, the way that our site surfaces information was not that good. We were getting a lot of calls into the contact center. So we worked with some team members who were working for the airline Qantas, which is currently, they had to furlough a lot of staff because the airlines are not flying. So we employed people from companies like Qantas and companies like Virgin, and they helped us develop faster things like a chatbot, which we could put over the website so that people could ask questions and it could find the information much quicker than our normal search engine, which we were long overdue for investing on improving the search engine. And then finally, once we got through this kind of need for accessibility, this need for security and trust around getting the products, we then moved into how can we provide some of the services that the customers love to come to the store for? How can we provide some of those online? We have two brands that are quite different. Dan Murphy's is more the drinks expert where you come for advice, and BWS is more the kind of the fun, the fast, the quick bottle of wine to have with your dinner. And what the two teams did is they both, while staying on brand, they figured out ways that they could continue to offer the services that the stores offer, but in the online environment. So we worked with some food partners on how we can give inspiration for how they could explore new wines or match it with food. BWS made some quite fun videos with influencers that are quite funny, and I'll play one shortly. And how to engage the customers when they might be bored at home. What are some fun wines that they could choose? We also have a lot of wine consultants who work in the store, and their job is to talk one-on-one. You can make an appointment, or you can go see them, and they give you advice on, okay, if it's a gift, what kind of wine should you have? If your friend only likes heavy red wine, what should you have? And what we did, we invested in some technology to link those wine advisors who are at home, link them up to customers online, so they could do live stream videos, so people could ask them questions, and they could host kind of virtual wine tastings and provide that same service that they normally would come into store for. And we also created some interactive quiz events. I don't know if you have this tradition there in Australia. What's very popular in the bar or in the pub is it's called a pub quiz. You go there with some friends, you sit at the table, and the speaker asks some questions, and you have to answer the questions. It doesn't sound very fun. I've been to Salvador for Carnival, and that's definitely much more fun than this. But this is very, very popular in Australia, especially in some of the smaller suburbs. And obviously the pubs were closed. So what we did is we recreated this environment of the pub quiz. You know, they could order some beers or order some wine from us. It would be delivered, and then they could take part in these interactive quizzes online to recreate that feeling of connection with friends, or that connection with an interactive game. And then finally, a lot of the small companies that have a small winery or a small distributor that mainly sell to restaurants which were closed, or that mainly get money from people visiting the winery, our partners, they didn't have any revenue. So what we did is we worked with them to improve our marketplace offering, so that we could onboard them much quicker and they could sell their products online. Within the first 4 years, we'd probably onboarded 500 to 1,000 partners. In COVID, we onboarded, after changing the technology, we onboarded, I think, 1,000 in 2 or 3 weeks, which also helped our partners and supported the local partners to be able to sell and be able to get a revenue stream when they previously couldn't because of COVID. I have a couple of examples. These are examples of the wine merchants. Some of them were just doing videos to give basic information. Others were doing interactive wine tastings. You could order some wines, and then you could then go online and you could talk to them about the wines that they were ordering. This was very, very popular, much more popular than we expected with our customers. And here's just some screenshots of examples of the pub night and the quiz night. We found a partner who could help us put online the quiz very quickly. And my final example will be a video from one of our influencers. The orange-haired gringo in the video is a small celebrity. And he made lots and lots of fun content recommending different wines that people could try. He tailored the content to talk specifically about COVID. In this video, he talks about, you can't go to Chile right now, but we've got wine from Chile for you. And again, this content was very well received by our customers. And you can play the video now.
Fresh, fruity, soft and full. Meet this week's recommendation, Frontera Pinot Noir. It's a light-bodied beauty, making it the perfect introduction to the world of red wine. You can't get to Chile right now, but you can have a glass of Frontera Pinot Noir and transport your taste buds to Chile. Ole! Or you could comment below and tell us what you'd pair your Frontera Pinot Noir with for your chance to win 2 bottles. See you next week for my final drinks recommendation.
Okay, thank you very much. It was a real pleasure to speak for you guys again. I'd love to take any questions or feedback.
Okay. Hello, Ben. Thank you very much for the insights you shared with us. The first question that I would like to ask you is, how is the sales penetration post-COVID? Let's say, after the spike in your country and in Asia, if you're close to Asia. So I want to hear from you what you guys have seen after this challenging period.
So the initial spike when it started, our online, so our bricks and our physical business, our total business normally grows at about 5 to 7% every year. And our online business normally grows at about 20% every year. During COVID in the peak, the online business was growing at 300 or 400%, and the physical business was growing at sometimes 100%. After it normalized back down, the online business is still growing a good 80% or more year on year, even now, and some areas have come out of lockdown than it was. So it kind of jumped up to a penetration of, I believe, if the penetration before was roughly around 8, and these numbers might not be exact, it jumped up to a penetration of in the 20s, and now it's back down again, and it's at the 12, it's at the 15. And these projections, we were projecting this in 2 or 3 years' time, so it's really brought forward that for us, which presents some profitability challenges and some efficiency challenges that we need to face into if we have a higher e-com penetration.
Okay, and there's a very interesting question from the audience here, which is, there are some conflicts when you resell a product from the industry in Brazil, and the industry is facing some impact to enter the e-commerce. How do you work around to digitalize the entire supply chain from the industry to the end consumer?
So we don't have some of the same complications, I think, around this topic. It's quite straightforward for our suppliers to quite straightforward. The guy speaking next may disagree. He's one of our big suppliers in Australia, but it's quite straightforward for them to go online and sell it. What we have our own logistics and delivery business, and we also partner with Uber Eats and some others. And so the way we get around it, usually depending on the supplier, they may distribute their products to our stores, and our stores act like distribution centers, or we load them into, and we've built some connections that we built with Uber Eats that can be used with other delivery partners that allow us to deliver quicker. The suppliers who don't have a big warehouse, usually we either pick it up from them or they send it to one of our distribution centers and we distribute from there. I'm not sure if that's answered the question.
Yeah, that was the question. So I would like to thank you very much for sharing the richness of your content with us. And we hope to see you in the further editions for E-commerce Brazil. So thank you very much.
Me too.
Good evening for you, and bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bye-bye.